This is Pastor Jeff again, and I know I just did another interview with Aaron Mueller, but we're trying to get these testimonies together about the new Kairos Foundations training that we're offering. We've been kind of running a couple beta groups in the past over the last almost year and a half, and Barry has been a part of that. Barry helps out at our church volunteering, particularly helping give leadership to our Sunday morning prayer time and ministry times during and after the service. So thank you so much, Barry, for doing that. And thanks for taking a little bit of time to jump on and talk about your experience with the Kairos training. Like I said last time, Kairos is a Greek word which means now, but it's usually used to talk about how God is now breaking into our life, that God's kingdom is now coming, that God's kingdom is now. And so that's the Greek word in the New Testament that's used. And so we're doing this training. And Barry, you've been through it a couple times and helped out. So I wanted to ask you a couple questions about it.
Just one time, actually.
Oh, just one. Well, either way,
Yeah.
just one time. Well, so in that one time, how
Mhm.
has your understanding of how God works in your life, or even your understanding of yourself, how has that been impacted or changed or augmented?
Yeah, just what you said, God breaking into our lives, just that thought and the magnitude of that, it's so overwhelming that God can just speak to us just throughout our day, throughout the week, throughout the month. Just that concept in and of itself is just it's huge. It's so important. And if God, the creator of everything, wants to talk to me, I want to listen.
Yeah, for sure. Well, how has it, so God is speaking to us and we want to listen. How has your understanding of what a disciple is? We're all called to be followers of Jesus. We're called to be disciples, Christians, little Christ ones. How has your
Mhm.
understanding of that kind of been impacted or changed through this training?
Yeah, I think it reaffirms following Jesus' lead. And we talk a lot about grace and truth and how Jesus was full of grace and truth. So having opportunities to do that just and in your everyday life, whether it's at work, at home, in church, wherever you go, that had a huge impact on me and just really brought a lot of optimism. When you think of the Lord speaking something over your life, and just the invitation to step into something, um, to really repent of a lie or something that you believe that isn't from Him. Just the opportunity to step into what He's calling you to is can be really life changing.
Now I'm going a little off script here because I told you some questions, but you're a football coach. And
I
I
am.
know, I'm assuming you're a high school football coach, right?
Hmm.
And I'm sure they really benefit from clear structure when it comes to practices, uh, as well as the game and plays. Do you feel that, like, can you talk about some of the practices or structures? Because it is kind of like a structured thing, and they're actually like tools that were that were given. Is it pretty practical in your opinion? This training to help us understand how to follow Christ. Do you have any like examples of like, because you just mentioned in grace and truth, and that's actually like a matrix that we use to kind of
Hmm.
talk about how to understand our lives. If you could either explain grace and truth matrix or just something else that you found really practical that was like a really good hook that you could like hang kind of your life of faith on.
Yeah, well, grace and truth was um, it's just so practical to use every day. Um, in interacting with people to use, um, to step into what Jesus was calling us to speak truth to someone, and yet in love or full of grace. Just to have that structure going into a conversation can really impact the conversation for the better. And that's just something you can use in everyday conversation.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that's just one of like five or six different axioms, is what we call. Another one is God does in you, what he wants to do through you, and the grace and truth matrix, like we just said, and a couple others. And so there's really practical things that we learn. And then we have the context, the small groups that we meet in week by week are the context where we get to practice those. Well, last question. What would your hopes be for our whole community if the whole church went through this? What do you think God could do in us and through us? What would your hopes or dreams be?
Well, there'd be a lot of freedom. Um, Anytime God speaks to you, it's just amazing freedom, and He gives a lot of structure to conversations. Like I said, whether it's at church, um, at work, at home. So I think the growth, when you really hear from God and you follow the lead of Jesus in your life, can bring just tremendous amounts of freedom and unity, uh, which is
Mm,
which is huge right now.
yeah, I like that. That's a great word for this moment. I think when we feel uh, trapped, lockdowns, different patterns, working from home, all the political stuff, like just living just a life of freedom that's peaceful, non-anxious. So I love that. So,
Yeah.
well, thanks for jumping on and thanks for participating and for helping out as we continue to lay the foundations of this. All of you, in a day or so, there will be emails and signups for more information there. So uh, it's not an easy commitment. There is readings, there's trainings, there's a weekly small group commitment. So these are all things. There's a strong structure. So, but it's been beneficial, right, Barry?
Oh,
So
the readings are awesome.
yeah,
Easy,
super
easy reads. Yeah, for
easy
sure.
reads. So, well, thanks so much for taking just 10 minutes out of your evening. And thanks again for all that you do at the church, Barry.
Yeah, you're welcome. Keep it rolling.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you all later, Vineyard North.